Okay. Sweet. I felt like that was like the longest millennial pause there of me just like looking at the countdown, like, and we're recording. Okay, cool.
Not at all. Not at all.
But it looks like we're live. At least it tells me that
Wait,
we are. So
sorry, John, to
that's
interrupt
that's
you.
cool.
Is that something
Yeah.
that we do as millennials? Are they making fun of us for pausing now?
Yeah, they're making fun of us for our low rise jeans and our ankle socks
Are
and
they're like coming after us for all of it?
all of
It's
it.
so
Yeah,
hurtful. Like, do they know that like we take it personal? Like, what is a
we really do.
millennial pause? Do they not pause
So
these days? Like,
they don't they don't pause. They just like sometimes they'll just like start recording in the middle of a conversation, like middle of the sentence,
oh,
or if there is a pause, they'll edit out. So it's just like you're
I'm
starting with like
so glad
half the
you're
word.
telling me this because I try being in fashion. It's like very important to
Uh
stay
huh.
up on like the not just like fashion trends, but just cultural trends with the new generation
Yeah.
because that's who I'm dressing now.
Right.
And yeah, I feel like I should know that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So next time you're filming a TikTok or
Just like
reel or
right,
something,
and I'll
just
be like making a dress. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
yeah. Yeah, just like
Real
act
natural.
like you're already in mid conversation, just like, oh yeah, you're back. Okay. But yeah, millennial pause are welcome here
Thank
um
you. Okay.
on the podcast. But yeah, Kate, welcome to the show. I am
Thanks for
so
having
excited to reconnect. Like I know we've
me
been like
too.
Instagram friends for I
Forever
don't even
since
know.
the fashion show. Like,
Yeah,
but
because
I
that was like
forever
8 years
ago.
ago. That
Like
was a long time ago.
it time is so bizarre now.
It's crazy. Yeah, with COVID and everything
Yeah.
too, I'm just like it's just a blur of years.
Such a
I'm
blur.
like, I don't know.
And you have kids around the same age as mine. So it's for me, it's like COVID,
Yeah.
kids, time warp.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah. Yeah, because how old is your youngest?
so my
Like
youngest
two?
just turned 2. Yeah.
Okay.
And is your youngest the 3-year-old?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so my
Yeah.
oldest is just turned 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is 3 months away from four. Wait,
Okay.
what month is it right now? Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like
Who knows?
4 months away right now.
I have
Who
no
knows?
idea.
Again, time is just
Well,
blurred
and
together.
so I'm in Argentina now, and our seasons are flipped. And so it's
Oh
winter
yeah.
here now, or maybe fall. I guess
Uh
it's
huh.
summer there. You guys are in summer. So that means
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Texas, so we've been in
it's
summer for
always
like
summer.
2 months. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always summer in Texas.
We have 2 weeks where it's not summer,
Yeah.
and then it's summer again.
Yeah. So I'm just like infinitely confused because so like the girls, I'm just now trying to figure out their plans for winter break. So I'm just on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. Like, I was just to out myself here, I was at least 28 when I found out that, like, the hemispheres have different
Don't be
seasons. I was like,
embarrassed. I found out like
when you moved to
as I'm
Argentina?
moving. Yeah, like I had no clue. No clue.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to a friend in Australia, and they were like, oh, yeah, like Christmas at the beach and it's just, nice and warm. And I was like, wait a second. No, like that's winter. That's like white Christmas here. And yeah, it's so interesting. Like it makes sense now that
Yeah.
I'm like, I know it. I'm like, oh yeah, obviously.
But like from
But
the
it
fashion
was not
sense,
obvious.
this is what I can't gather. Okay.
Hmm.
And this is gonna be very like US centric of me, I feel. But okay. In so like I feel like fashion starts in Paris and New York. Like they can fight over it. I'm not gonna pick a side.
Right.
But so like fashion seasons are already reversed. Like you've got spring showing in fall and fall showing in spring. I
Yeah.
I am so messed up because I'm just like, okay, So, am I supposed to be dressing in warm clothes right now, but in spring colors and summer colors? Like, so I've been wearing like pink sweaters.
Yeah,
I'm so confused. Like, it's not like, whereas like normally you'd be like in your sweater having like a PSL. That's
right.
not the case here. Like, very, I don't know, it's jarring. It's jarring for me.
Yeah, because like planning for the swapped seasons of like in the spring you're showing fall, but now you're swapped, so like you are in fall,
It's,
and it's yeah,
it
that
just
would be
feels
confusing.
like living in Argentina, I kind of feel like the fashion industry is just kind of ignoring the lower hemisphere because it's
Uh
just
huh.
like, sorry, this is how our seasons are, and this is how we're going to show things. And like, I guess maybe they benefit from that because they get everything off season and can get it on sale. So
I
maybe,
mean,
okay,
yeah.
maybe they want this is what they want.
Yeah, I mean that sounds great to me.
Yeah,
I'm all about a good sale,
me too.
but yeah, no, it sounds very like European American centric.
Yeah.
Like even the way that we like drew out the maps hundreds of years ago and like
Oh yeah.
made everything like oh no no
Like they're like way bigger.
like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like U.S. is just giant and right in the middle of the map, and it's like oh we're not that big.
Yeah.
Like yeah, there's someone that I found, it just like popped up on my for you page on TikTok of like a realistic map, and you can just like click a country and then drag it over on different sides of the map,
Whoa.
and seeing like little Australia, I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, that's like the size of Texas,
Like
maybe, I don't know. And then they drag it over and it's like three quarters of the United States. It's like, oh, that makes a lot more sense why it takes so long to get from like Sydney to Perth. Like
totally.
that's crazy.
I have no concept of geography. Like my dad
Same.
never believed me, and my husband still doesn't. Like they just can't constantly. They're just like, you went to school. Like my husband and I went to the same school. Like we have the same exact education. And
Mm,
he's like, we learned this. And I get all upset because I'm just like, we have different learning styles, we have different
yep.
interests, and like you don't remember the color wheel, and you don't see me judging you for that. Like,
Yeah, you can't tell me what a complementary color is right
yeah,
now. So
exactly.
yeah, it's that is I mean that's very interesting. Like we're running into that with our kids because our oldest are 9 and 6 right now.
Yeah,
So like we're seeing how like our 9 year old when he was 6 learned certain things really well, just
yeah,
like came to him, it was almost like he was just like born knowing math, and it was
totally.
crazy, it's just like flowed. But like speech, reading, writing, that was a lot more difficult to like get through.
Yeah,
And with our 6 year old, she is just like boom, I can write. She has been writing her name since she was like 3, and she's just like really excelled in that. And then math, she's like, I don't know.
yeah,
And like it's just so interesting to see how our brains are so different where we can learn the exact same thing. Like my brother and I were both homeschooled, and we went through the same curriculum.
yeah,
And I retained things that he didn't. He retained things that I didn't. He knows all about like music theory and all of this. And I'm like, I know a few chords and I can put them together. I don't know if this goes well with the
yeah.
other chord, though. I can't tell
It's like, thank God we're all different though, because like,
you. Hmm.
yeah, I just couldn't do. I have a very niche set of skills and interests, and
Yes.
they just don't stretch that far.
Yeah, I feel like that with photography too. I'm like, okay, this is like very niche. And like if I ever wanted to get out of photography, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to like really figure out what skills I can apply to
Yeah.
some other like 9 to 5 job or something.
Well, so it has been to comfort you. When my husband took a job as a diplomat, I knew that like stuff was going to have to change ish for my career.
Mm-hmm.
So I still have my fashion line, but when our first post when we moved was Venezuela, and they were like on the verge of revolution, and like
Right.
it was crazy. And I there were months while we were waiting for our stuff to arrive that I didn't have a sewing machine or a dress form or anything, and I was like, okay, so I literally can't do that part of my work. What am I
Mm-hmm.
going to do? And so that's when I reached out to the like my all my favorite wedding blogs, and I was just like, "Hey guys, I'm a wedding fashion expert. I love you guys. I'm a fan. I'm a reader." And I started blogging, and I love writing. Like it's I'm choosing to view writing as like my second act because I still love design and I still do it, and I that's one of my passions. But it was so
Mm-hmm.
fun and uh, what's the word, like uplifting to discover that at not that I'm old, but at like this late age, I can
Yeah.
have a completely new career and that I enjoy just as much as what I thought. Like I always thought, oh, you have a dream, you live that dream.
Mm-hmm.
And there were like a lot of times too, though, I feel like I lived my fashion dream like hard and fast. I was just like, okay, let's do this. And did that also fast in my 20s. That there were times where, well, there was a time when I realized I have spent the same amount of years maintaining my dream come true, and I stopped kind of dreaming new dreams, you know?
Right. Yeah. Like you achieved it. You're here at the dream. Like you're living your dream, just maintaining this, and it just kind of like plateaus of like,
Exactly.
I don't really have anything else to reach toward right now.
Yes. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
just kind of like, okay, like what do I do now? And it was fun to have a new dream.
Oh yeah.
This is a very
I
Disney princess way to say it, but
yes, yeah. I feel like that with like this podcast. I don't feel like I fully achieved photography or anything, but like I had kind of plateaued. I had reached kind of a certain part of the market, and I was like,
yeah,
all right, I don't feel like my creativity just like wasn't there anymore, and I was just kind of going through the motions of photography. And then starting this podcast, I was like, oh, this is like a whole different skill set. And I'm also like
exactly.
naturally like born introvert. I don't I don't speak out. I don't, or I shouldn't say that in like present tense. I didn't speak out.
Yeah.
I was always like the what is it? Wallflower?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Wildflower. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say wallpaper, and I was like, I don't think that's right.
You're
I
like,
was always the
more shy than the wallflower. I was the
yeah.
paper behind.
I was the paper behind the wallflower. Yeah, and it was like
Well,
in a group setting. I'm gonna take that. That's
yeah.
so good.
You need to.
Um, in a group setting, I never spoke out. It was really hard. I also have like audio sensory type stuff where if I'm in a loud room, my brain just like goes to whatever's loudest, and it's really hard
Yeah.
to keep conversation. But like this was just it was fun because I was like building new skills of conversation, and like being a host, I've got to like lead people,
Yeah.
um, especially like some guests who are just very short answers, and I have to like, all right, I'm gonna carry this conversation, which is not happening right now, by the way. This is great.
Okay, good.
um,
Okay, good. So
just to reassure you.
I'm a natural. I don't know if like I've done those tests, but I don't remember any of them. But like
Mm,
uh, I can talk to people. Like I have the ability to talk to people, but I'm
hmm.
a loner. So
Yeah.
like COVID, not that COVID wasn't hard for me, like quarantine and all of that, but I spend most of the time, my time inside my house anyway. I have to
Right.
literally like talk myself into getting outside. And it's not just like you should go outside. It's an internal fight of, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna like step outside and look at the sky? And, like how long am I
Hmm.
gonna do that? in 10 minutes. You just get to stare at the sky for 10 minutes. That sounds productive. Like, I have this whole dialogue in my head, and I'd always just like rather be alone and inside.
Yeah.
But
It's
I,
like I'm totally fine and content
yeah,
being by myself. Like I can entertain myself. This is
exactly.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I am definitely the same where like I was totally cool with being at home. We bought a little like 6 foot inflatable bounce house and just put it in our living room
We're
because I guess at the
considering,
time we had like, oh no, that was 4 years ago. So yeah, we had like a 2 and 5 year old
yeah,
and a newborn. Uh, and yeah, we just were like, y'all just go crazy in the living room with this bounce house,
yeah,
and we don't need to go outside and
yeah.
see other people. It's okay.
We have a
Um,
slide, a couch slide, but
that's fun.
we did buy, I don't know why I'm whispering, they can't hear me now, but we bought a trampoline, like a yard sized trampoline to put in their playroom. We live in an apartment, by the
Nice.
way. and and middle of the night, like Christmas Eve night, we're putting this thing together and we stretch it out and it takes up the entire room and we're like, they're gonna like hit their head on the ceiling.
Right.
But it just sounds like such a good idea at the time. Like when you're on Amazon, like click, click, ship, it just sounds really good.
Mm. It was like, oh, they will love this. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Now we pushed two beds together and we just have a giant bed in our bedroom that they use as a trampoline.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Kids love that.
they love it.
I mean, I would have loved that as a kid. Just
Yeah.
a giant bed trampoline, 100%. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's really insightful, like with your like finding a new passion. And even though like design fashion is still a passion for you, like writing is like a new thing. It's got that like that new excitement of,
Yes.
oh, I'm learning something new, I'm able to do this, like it's a different part of your brain.
Totally.
It's something different, and different is always exciting.
Yes. Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. So how long ago did like you start with the blogging with like Style Me Pretty and Wedding Chicks and all that?
That would have been, it's either 2017 or 2018 when we moved.
Okay.
I've lost track. And so that's when I started. And I started as a weddings 101 expert. So just kind of like tips and tricks for your wedding, uh like for your summer wedding, like those little things that stick on your heel so you don't sink in the grass. And I'm all
Those are
about this
amazing.
is a really weird fun fact for me to bring up. But just
Yeah.
like I find so much like when I work with brides, because I would take appointments at my showroom and spend so much time with my brides, and I genuinely enjoy every single aspect of wedding planning. And I love to hear it. And it pains me to see how stressed people get when they're wedding planning,
Hmm.
and or like the compromises that they make. Like they'll be like, oh, I'm getting married on a beach, so I probably shouldn't wear silk. And I'm just like, who cares? Like, it's gonna get dirty. Like, live your life. You want to wear silk, like, it's about the moment. It's not about what's gonna happen to it. And so I'm all about having a vision, not compromising on it. And there's always a workaround, like the little things you put on your shoes. Like, you want to wear your Jimmy Choo pumps for your outdoor wedding, you do it. And like, there's somebody has invented something to
Yeah.
make your life easier. And so that was my favorite part about writing 101 articles, was kind of focusing on struggles that couples have and how to not compromise on your vision despite all of the obstacles. That's
Hmm.
what weddings are. There's just overcoming a bunch of random obstacles to make the impossible happen.
A ton of obstacles, just like those kind of obstacles of like, I want to wear these shoes outside but I know I'm gonna sink, so what can I do?
Yeah.
Or am I gonna have to go
So many
barefoot?
people
What
just,
are my options?
yeah, so many people are like, oh, well, I'll just wear flats for the ceremony. And I'm just, no, no, you won't. You
Yeah.
will wear what you want to wear, and we will find a way to make that work.
Hmm. It is 2024.
Yeah,
Someone has invented something that's going
something.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I know like from just remembering back to my wedding and planning and all of that, there were a lot of struggles with just other people's opinions of
Oh,
like,
totally, totally.
oh no, you should do this, and like having that blog that kind of almost like a friend being like, hey, these are some ways that you can actually do like logistically do what you're wanting to do, because that's what we were coming up against was like, okay, you want to do this, but like
What was
how
it
would
for
you
you
do
guys?
that?
What was the obstacle?
One of them that I remember a lot was like we wanted to wash each other's feet.
Yeah,
We wanted to like start our marriage off in service,
that's
and do
beautiful.
that, and yeah, and it was a great little moment. We had a friend read, and like my brother played guitar, and
Amazing.
it could have been awkward for people. I don't know. We heard a lot of great feedback of
That's
just like we've
actually
never seen that before. Yeah.
that no, it's a tradition, I believe, in Islamic weddings. That is
Mhm.
that is like an established wedding tradition. That's not you guys being weird. That is
Right.
like a historical tradition.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like we knew that like some other people had done that. We had never attended a wedding
Yeah,
where anyone washed each other's feet, and they were just a lot of the pushback was like, well, like where are you going to keep the water? Like is it going to be just like a wet rag that you're washing? Like
like
John, how are you going to put your
harder than
socks back
definition.
on wet feet? And I was like, towel?
Like we've gone to
We
the moon. Like I think we can figure out how to wash each other's feet. Like
Yeah.
we'll be okay.
And I can also put wet socks on for the 5 minutes left of the ceremony. It's okay. And like that was one of the things that we remember the most about our ceremony, because we were like away from the front where people were watching us. We were off to the side, and it was just a like little private moment for us, even though everyone was still watching. We
Yeah,
were just kind of over there, and we were able to talk to each other, and no one heard us on the microphones.
yeah,
And it was also just like that act of, hey, I'm here to serve you, and
yeah.
like
It
we're a
literally gave me
team.
goosebumps, John. Because like
Yeah.
my husband and I just celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary, and
Congratulations.
thank you. But hearing you say that, I will fully admit I forget so often that we should be serving each other. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, we're always a team and we're always working together. But
Yeah.
I feel like I'm definitely lacking in the act of service when it comes to my husband. Because for my kids, I mean, that's all I do.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. They're at the ages
a
where it's like,
glorified waitress right now and happy to be one living my best life.
yep.
But I do forget to serve my husband. It's like, oh, when he's sick, I'm just like, and you can't get your own water right now. I just got the kids like five different, like a 4-course meal. Like, can you
Right.
can you pour your own water?
Yeah.
And I feel bad because I feel like, yeah, I forget that aspect of marriage, but it was a nice reminder. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It is definitely something that like we have to remind each other, and we have definitely gone through seasons, especially like with the young kids. We feel like we're like just getting out of the young kids stage, because we've had someone in diapers for like the past 10 years.
Yeah.
So we are just now, our 3.5-year old is like, she's potty trained, and we're,
Congratulations.
yeah, I mean, not at night, but still
Yeah.
like
Still,
pull ups at night, we're
hey,
okay.
that's fine.
Yeah. And like it feels like we're out of the baby stage, which has like opened up a lot of our bandwidth. And
Yeah.
like I feel like a different person. I also had like a psychological emotional breakthrough a few weeks ago of like realizing that I had always been like a very extreme people pleaser,
Yeah.
and that had like hindered, like kind of dampened my personality, because I was always trying to make other people feel good instead of just living my life, and
Yeah.
still caring for other people, but like being able to be me and be like silly and goofy and whatever. And yeah, so that's, I don't know, there are a lot of reminders that we have to remind each other and remind ourselves
Totally.
all the time as parents and partners.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
yeah, but yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, like and with those like with the way that you're like writing in those blogs and everything, and like helping people see, oh, I can actually do this. I can achieve what what I'm wanting to. Um, I feel like in my mind, I was just like holding up a finger of where we needed to go back after that tangent. I was like, okay, after
All the
parenting, what
chance.
were we talking about before? um, but like, I think that's so great. Like as like service industry providers, being photographers or designers or planners, whatever you are. Speaking to those things of like the pain points that your clients would have,
Yeah,
and then giving them solutions and being like, hey, this is an option for you. You
yeah,
don't have to write this off. You can actually do this, but do
yeah,
it this way.
completely. And it's for me, like I always view myself as a fairy godmother when it comes to the dresses. Like that's who I want to be. Like as
Uh-huh.
a child, I wanted to be the princess. I wanted to be Cinderella, and as an adult, like honestly, 17 and up adult, I want to be the fairy godmother. And doing it with the dresses is fun, but doing it with like the other wedding stuff is just as exhilarating, just as fun. There's like all these new challenges. I I love a challenge, clearly. And so for me it's kind of like I pretend in my mind that I have like one of those help columns in the old like well, I guess they still have newspapers. But like
Yeah.
in the paper newspapers,
But
you know,
back whenever we only had newspapers.
yeah, back when only newspapers for all you Gen Zers out there, once upon a time there were only newspapers and there were columns and people would write in with their problems. And in my mind, that's who I pretend to be. I'm like, okay, I go back in my mind and I think about the problems, or the problems are posed to us like by either my editors or by even other brands that are trying to introduce people to something new on the market. Like right now, we're
Mm.
seeing a lot of the wedding content creators, which I
Oh yeah.
can't wait to talk to you about. Are you getting into the wedding content creation game?
A little bit. I'm doing a lot more of like the behind the scenes content creation
Hmm.
and less of like the, I don't know, like the trendy TikTok, like
Yeah,
here, do this, and then like you're going to like wave your hand in front of the camera, and
yeah,
then we'll transition out once you're dressed and all that.
yeah,
Do less of that, but more of like the behind the scenes and like clipping those together
yeah.
throughout the day. But I have definitely seen more content creators at weddings, just
I
like, hey, we
love
let's
the idea.
set up this thing and do this, and yeah, I love it too.
Yeah,
I know that a lot of photographers very against it because it's
and
like
it's
encroaching on
easy to
your
see why.
space.
I just wrote
Hmm.
something in partnership with a photographer, a wedding photographer, about how they are starting to offer the content creation. And to play devil's advocate, and I know you're a photographer, but to play devil's advocate, I feel like for you guys, for the photographers, having a designated phone person and maybe confiscating the guests' phones is better than all the guests being their own rogue
Yeah.
content creators.
Right.
Like it's like if you
Yeah.
have to play along, having a designated one phone person is better than just everybody thinking like, oh, like I'm gonna make this real and getting in your way of the shot, you know?
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's not too different than working with like a videographer
Yeah,
where you're just like, okay, yeah, they're going to need to get their things for what they've been contracted to do. A lot of it we're getting together, but sometimes I got to step aside and let them do something that's going to look amazing on video, and maybe I'll get the behind the scenes kind of like angled shot of that.
yeah,
And the same with content creators, there's just, it's another person in there, and I'm still able to do my job. I'm still able to take photos, and everything is fine. I think, going into it with a like a team kind of mindset
yeah,
of like, hey, we're on the same team here. We're all creating content. We are all capturing the day in different ways.
yeah,
So let's work together so that all of ours are the best. it is the mindset to have instead of like, I can't believe they're over here wanting to do this,
Yeah.
taking up 3 whole minutes of my
Yeah,
time.
look at this little dance that they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of that, like with millennial photographers especially, we just don't get the TikTok
Mhm.
dances. We
Yeah.
don't really understand it, and
I'm
it's just
jealous
like,
of them. Like, I'll be the first one to say I'm jealous.
me
I
too.
I want to know how I made my first reel with my daughter's birthday party.
I
Did
saw
you
that
see
looked
it?
like an amazing birthday party.
So you guys, I'm so extra, John. I
I mean, you have to be.
I
You like
I'm
if you're not.
channeling all of the energy that used to go into like showing at Bridal Fashion Week.
Uh huh.
I'm channeling that now because I don't do that anymore. I'm like, I I exclusively take online orders post COVID, and so we don't show up Bridal Fashion Week, and I need a major event or two every year to plan. And so yeah, she wanted a Gato con Botas birthday party, and I was like, both of my kids are into very obscure movie characters. Like I know people
Yeah.
saw Puss in Boots, and I know people saw Turning Red, but like those are the characters that they've latched onto. Like screw Elsa. Like we want May May from Turning Red, and we want Puss in Boots from Shrek. Or well, I know he has his own movies,
Right. Yeah.
but nobody like all the character places. Like there's no goodie bags pre-made with these characters on them. So I was like, what can
No.
I do? And I was like, what if I got like a fencing school to come and like fight at the party for 4-year-olds? And then what if we gave all the 4-year-olds inflatable swords? What could go wrong?
Yeah.
We all just started attacking each other, and it was chaos. And then I thought I had it in my head that I made like these inflatable bad guys, like there's Jack Horner and the Lobo Feroz, and I was like,
Uh huh.
oh, they can do like an obstacle course. So there was going to be like a tunnel that they have to crawl through, and like target practice. Okay, it was going to be a full obstacle course. It turned into just the inflatables were brought out by like the party planner people. They just brought out these bad guy inflatables, and the kids like group slaughtered them like Lord of the Flies style. And like also they were supposed to just play the suspenseful music from the soundtrack for like the actual fencing fight, but it continued through this mass slaughter of
That's great.
the villains. And it was, I'm just like looking at the other parents, and I'm just like, what must they think of Americans right now?
Oh yeah.
Like, I felt like I was really failing in my diplomatic duties, or winning. Like, I don't
Uh,
really know.
I say winning. Like that sounds like a dream for a 4-year-old birthday
I mean, she
to
is the
just.
most popular kid in school now after that party. So,
Oh, of course.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think winning.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It's probably all the other parents just being like, "How are we going to top this
Well,
for our kid's birthday?"
at the next party that we went to, it was like a Marvel Heroes party.
Hmm.
And I'm probably gonna get so much hate for this. I don't even know if this is a Marvel. The X-Men, are they Marvel? Do you know?
You're. I
Who
think
knows?
so.
I think
I don't know. I think
Spider-Man is
they're
Marvel, right? He was there.
Spider-Man.
There
Yeah.
were like 3 different Spider-Men. I guess it was like a multiverse situation, and a Wolverine was there, and they were like fighting to the death. And I was like, oh my gosh! So now there's like a death match at every 4-year
At every.
birthday party.
That's great. We have our 4-year-old. She will be or she will be turning 4 in October. So we're gonna have to plan something
10
with
out of
some
10
sort of death
recommend.
match,
Yeah, yeah.
and I will send you a reel
Please, please do.
inspired by Kate.
Yes, thank
Uh,
you.
I love it, and she would be all for that.
Really,
She
yeah.
is a very intense 3-year-old and just loves just like destroying things. We have little like Harry Potter wands,
Oh,
and
love. Do you guys have the
yeah,
ones that throw fire?
no, but we want to get those.
Yeah,
We figured they probably wouldn't be the best to give the kids.
probably
Uh,
not.
Yeah, I took a few from. I had a Harry Potter inspired wedding last year,
Fun.
2 years ago, and they, instead of like sparklers for an exit or something, they had wands that lit up at the end,
Obsessed.
and they had hundreds of them. So they just had piles after because they got extra, and I was like, I am taking all of these home
This
to my
is
kids.
like themed weddings, such a good topic because okay, personally, aesthetically, I'm
Hmm.
against them.
Yes. Yeah.
As a guest, 100% prefer them.
Yeah.
Like I absolutely, you're having a themed wedding, I am attending. RSVP, yes, for me.
Yeah.
Um, I would never have one, but I would love to go to one. And we did
Yes.
go, my brother and I got to go to one of my brides got married in Disney and was so sweet to invite us. I'm a huge Disney fan. My entire
Oh yeah.
family is. We were raised on it. And I had never been to a Disney wedding. And I did all of her bridesmaids. She had like 10 bridesmaids, and each was inspired by a different Disney princess. She originally asked me to do like costumes, and I said, I'm sorry, but like morally, I cannot.
Yeah.
I was like, I will make all of your dreams come true, but I won't do that.
Yeah. Not that dream. Sorry.
So I was like, what I will do is support you having a photo shoot in the park in costume, and I will help you source the costumes, but I will not make them.
Hmm.
And you will not let your bridesmaids wear them for the wedding.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
No.
But the
I.
wedding was
It,
insane. It was so fun.
yeah. That would be amazing. I would love to go. I have never been to Disneyland, Disney World, any of those,
Stop it.
but we're a big Disney family, and
Yeah.
because we're like right in the middle, being
Yeah.
in Texas, we're like it's not
I'm so
convenient
spoiled
to
because
go.
I grew up in Florida. And so we had
Right?
like
Yeah.
season passes. It was all like we never had to fly. It's
Hmm.
unaffordable. If you do not live next to Disney, it's insane and it's only getting worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But like I on that like themed wedding
Yeah,
kind of
I
deal, like
feel
I feel like there is a thin line
yeah,
of like this is like really tacky, very like it's it's fun but not aesthetically pleasing.
yes,
And then there's the like I think the more like Harry Potter inspired instead of themed
yes. Hmm.
is great because they had like little touches. If you weren't a Harry Potter fan, you wouldn't get the like little the golden
Oh,
now
snitches.
yeah, snitches.
I
They had
always
like
try to
little
piss off my husband because he's a huge Harry Potter and I never read the books. He made me watch all the movies when I had mono one time.
mm-hmm.
But I always call it the golden snatch because I think it's funny. And he gets so mad.
But yeah, they had like those there. They had like little different uh oh, they're not horcruxes. They're like your Patronus
Oh yeah, your
animals.
animal thing.
Yeah, so there were like really like cool artistic looking like owls and stuff on
Love,
different centerpieces, and I was like, this is great.
yeah,
Someone who like I also never read the books. I have now seen all of the movies. My wife, when she was I think it was when yeah our oldest, he had uh, like pinworms when he was
oh my gosh, so
a year old or something, and we had never heard of that, didn't
yeah,
know what was going on. As soon as we got the medicine, gone in like a
yeah.
day.
It's apparently
But
super common.
yes, apparently, and
Yeah,
no one talks about it.
no,
So if you have littles,
yes,
go get some pinworm medicine. It's super cheap. Just keep it in your medicine cabinet.
yeah.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like every night for 2 weeks, he was just wouldn't sleep and was crying. So my wife downloaded the Harry Potter audiobooks and just like went through all of them and fell in love with it. And
So much
now,
healthier than what I read aloud to my children when they were
oh, okay, I do. You mentioned this earlier, and I'm curious if this is the same timeline.
big. Yeah.
But you were talking about like how you had felt like you had like achieved like your dreams
Yeah.
in design, and and then you were just like maintaining those dreams. Was that like Project Runway era, like
Yeah.
post that, or when was that where you're just like, my
It
dreams,
was
they're right here?
Yeah, it was, yeah, right around that time, like the 20 teens. I started my line, and just like for the entrepreneurs that listen,
Hmm.
I did not start my line because I was like, oh, like this is so easy. I'm gonna just like, I graduated college and I'm gonna start my line. I
Yeah.
legitimately wanted to work for another designer and like gain experience before I started my line. I could not get a job. I went to school in Tallahassee, Florida. Nobody would even interview me because I didn't live in New York. And
Mm,
I was like, well, I would take a job in New York and I would gladly like pay to fly out for the interview. Um, but nobody would even let me interview for a job without living there. But I couldn't afford to just fly to New York and like live and hope I get a job.
right.
It was just crazy. So while I was applying, I started my line because I'm like, well, what else am I going to do? And so I was just working on it. And then it just so happened that my husband, then boyfriend, got a job in Chicago and was like, you want to come with me? And I was just like, yeah, I do. And when I moved there, it just happened to be the right place at the right time, and everything lined up. And I was able to not just start my line, but there was a Chicago bridal market, and I had no clue what I was doing. I was just like randomly like, okay, well, I guess that this is my mom told me. My mom is my momager, who you got to meet whenever
I
she was
did,
at the
yes.
fashion show.
She's amazing.
She's amazing, still helping, like still involved in absolutely everything I do. And she was like, Kate, this is what the wholesalers do. This is what you got to do. So we got to like, I had won a design competition, and my parents helped me sell my car. And I used that money to buy a spot at this wholesale show. And I had no clue what I was doing, but I just was like, I guess this is what I have to do now. And like, I mean, obviously, I'm very thankful. Like, I believe I'm very blessed, and like a lot of luck came in. But then I also have a super supportive family
Hmm.
unit, like my husband, my parents, my brother, all of my friends. At my first market, I went in not knowing anything. I had called this contact that a student of mine had given me. I had taught fashion design portfolio development classes like all throughout high school and college. And one of my students happened to have a family friend who worked for Maggie Sotero, and he was like their head salesperson. And so
Nice.
he gave me some advice. He was like, he sent me like examples. And I had a bridal magazine editor friend who sent me examples of other designers of like, this is what you need to have. Like, this is what a line sheet looks like. This is what like prices look like. And I winged it, got it all together. And he came over, my mentor, his name is Stanley, came over to my booth at market to meet me in person for the first time, and he thought that he was going to have to like kindly tell me that this was not for me because my photos were so bad. I was very proud of them, but
Right.
because the photos were so bad, you couldn't even tell that the designs were good. And so he comes over and he goes, oh, thank God. And I was like, what? And he goes, I thought I was going to have to come over here and like break a little girl's heart. He's like, your designs are good. I was like, thanks. And he was like, but where are your models? And I was like, oh, I can't afford a model. And he goes, where are your models? He was like, you can't afford to not have a model, because if you don't have a model, you're not going to sell anything. You're not going to be able to afford a booth at the next market.
Hmm.
So I called my friends who took off work, came over. Luckily, I have like gorgeous friends who are willing to model for me. So my friend's sister was even visiting, and she came over. They all threw on wedding dresses. They loved it. They lounged about, had
Right.
champagne.
I mean, that sounds like a fun afternoon. It's like, oh, I get to wear a wedding dress and just like parade around. Sure.
But it was certainly a team effort. But because all of those things aligned, and I had been applying for Project Runway, I got on Project Runway. It was my third time applying, second time auditioning, like getting asked to audition. And I happened to get on. That was a life dream. So, like, I wanted to start my own line,
Yeah.
kind of stumbled into that in my 20s. Then I wanted to go on Project Runway. So much so, I don't know if we talked about this when we met, John, but I have so, like, slight psychic abilities. Nothing like productive. Like, I'm not going to win the lottery. Like, I'm not going to locate a missing person probably.
Uh,
But I knew I was going to be on Project Runway. And my mom and I, we were in New York on my first like fabric sourcing trip ever. And we obviously had to go to Mood Fabrics. And I
of
saw
course.
they were filming, so we couldn't go in. And my mom goes, "Oh my God, do you want to like go over there and get a picture with them or get an autograph?" And I'm like, "Mom, that is so weird. Like, I'm going to be one of them one day. And like, I'm not going to like fangirl. That's weird." And so it was just bizarre that it just ended up happening like in the next couple of years. I got on Project Runway, but never did I think that I was going to get on Project Runway three times.
Right.
So it was like my dreams came true and then some.
Hmm.
And then
And then they're like, actually, we're going to have you back for next season
yeah.
also.
Then they asked me back for another All-Stars season, but I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. That's what I was so exhausted at that point. It was like back to back to back, all three seasons. And I was like, unless it's like all stars in space, like I don't know
Yeah.
what's gonna be different about this. And it's gonna like piss people off. Like I had so many supportive like fans and still do like that reach out to me and like have the kindest things to say. And I'm just like, but people are gonna get pissed if I just keep coming back.
Yeah. They're going to be like, okay, is she
Like
like
what
some Nepo baby or
Yes,
something where they're just
exactly.
like, okay.
Yeah, like because I was the first person that they ever brought back, so people were already kind of like suspicious of me.
Hmm.
I'm just like, no, I'm not, no, thank you.
Yeah. That was so like I had no interest in fashion for the longest time,
Yeah,
and I don't really remember why. I was trying to think of this like leading up to our conversation today of why my wife and I started watching Project
was
Runway. I
that
know
how
she
you
had
got
watched.
into it? Was you guys started watching it together?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We just I think maybe she was watching one of the seasons and Tim Gunn was there and I was just like, who is this guy? I just
yeah,
wanna listen to him. And then like I started watching it and I was like, oh, this was really cool. Like just the way that y'all like put things together and just like the creative mind and all of that, like watching that work. And I was like, oh, okay.
yeah.
And like we started watching, I think from probably like season 4 or so. So, and I remember like you were one of our favorites
Oh,
from, was it like
thank
11
you.
or something?
11. Yeah,
The
I was
first
on
one? Okay.
11, 12, and then season 4 of All Stars.
Okay. Yeah. Because I remember you were one of our favorites and then they, voted you off or whatever
Yeah.
at some point. And then you came back for 12 and we were like, oh, cool. Kate's back.
I
This
think
is going
it's
to be
so
fun.
nice. That's very sweet of you to say. I always find it really so kind when anybody likes me from season 11 because, well, A, they definitely cut it to make me look, what can I say the B word?
You can say
What is,
whatever you
what is
want.
this rated? Who's listening? But yeah, they definitely cut it to make me seem like a bitch. And I think that
Hmm.
I eventually got cut when they realized that I wasn't going to be the villain. And I was like, I'm kind of like offended. Like, I'm like, what exactly did I say to make you think that I was going to be the villain?
Right. Yeah. What look did I give? The
I
the
relate
producers
so
were like,
much,
she's going to be a villain. Let's
right?
let's go with
I
that.
relate so much to that audio of like, am I the villain?
Villain?
I think I'm the villain, like so much because I've lived that. Um, but yeah, like the designs, because it was a team season, I am, I want to say this, I have learned that I am a team player, but I believe that, like, every kitchen needs like a chef and or like a
And a
restaurant. So
sous
every
chef.
restaurant
Yeah.
needs a chef and a sommelier and a
Yes.
maitre d'. Like you need a team of people with different talents working together.
Hmm.
So, like for a photo shoot, I need a photographer, I need a hair and makeup artist, I need
Yep.
a videographer, and then we do the styling. Like,
Yeah.
and so I am a team player. I just don't think you can put a bunch of main characters with the same talents on the same team.
Yeah.
And like, I really struggled because, like you, I'm a people pleaser. Like, I'm not going to bulldoze somebody, like, especially people that I have become friends with, and be like, this is just like, this is my once in a lifetime opportunity to show the world like what I'm passionate about and what I do. This is your once in a lifetime opportunity. So like, if you want to make this thing and I want to make this thing, I like, and then the fusion of those things was but ugly. It was
Yeah.
awful. And so anytime when people are like, "You were my favorite," I'm like, it was probably like a you have a good personality thing, because like a lot of the designs were like so weird. Like we had to design a uniform for Susan Sarandon's ping pong bar,
Yeah.
and it was
Some
like
of the things were just like, oh,
so
this is
fucking
crazy. Like, I
so
feel like it's just the shock value for like,
totally.
what? Okay.
It was so.
I'm interested now to see what they're gonna do.
And then then I combined with my friend Patricia for that one, and we have like completely different styles, like completely.
Hmm.
And we're making a ping pong uniform. So like, what is this gonna turn out like? And then I remember like trying to justify it to Susan Sarandon, and you have to like defend this thing that you think is hideous, but like if you don't stand by it, then they're gonna be like, bye. So I'm defending this to Susan Sarandon, who is then pretending to be like a prude. And I'm just like, have you seen your movies?
Right. Yeah. This is not you.
The slogan for the ping pong company was "Balls are our business." I'm like, so I don't know why you're trying to be like holier than thou right now, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
in his face, like
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good lesson to learn of like that, being a team player, sometimes you've really got to like talk to the other team players, teammates, and just be like, okay, what roles are we taking in
exactly,
this project that we're doing?
yeah,
We can't all be head chef.
yeah,
We can't all be sommeliers
yeah,
because then nothing's going to get cooked.
exactly,
And yeah, like sometimes you got to take like kind of a maybe a more minor role, or maybe you're going to be like thrown into head chef situations. Like, okay,
yeah,
this is all on me. I gotta lead this.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a good. I don't know. I just feel like that's a good lesson of like working with teammates, other vendors, all sorts of things of like coming together
Yeah,
to move something forward. Just like we were talking about, like content creators earlier, like
exactly, exactly.
coming together as a team. You've got a different skill set. I've got a different skill set. We have different equipment, but we're going to work together to create something amazing.
Totally. And something is interesting. I'm interested to see how you feel about it, because
Mhm.
I realized I was a team player when I got to build my own team. When I hired designers, when I hired dressmakers, when I picked the photographers, I picked the models.
Yes.
And I was like, and everything worked together so beautifully. I'm like, oh my God, I think I love teams. Like, this news to me. And I mean, like a true epiphany. For you, you get brought into it. And usually the all the vendors that I pick, usually we mesh super well. Not always,
Hmm.
usually. What do you find? Do you feel that way? Are you like a team player now, or like have you not had that opportunity to work with your own team that you build?
So the first ever like non-paid shoot, like putting together a styled shoot. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a real wedding or anything. I assembled the team
Yeah.
because I was like, I don't know. I also didn't have kind of like you getting into fashion of like, I don't know where
Yeah.
like are there styled shoots? How do I do this? And I was just like, I'm just gonna get together with this florist that I mesh with, this bridal boutique that I mesh with. Like we all we're fun personalities to work with, and I was like, hey, would you do this, would you do this, and like brought everyone together. And then like that, I felt like a really great team player because it was like I brought everyone together and I was kind of like the lead for it,
Yeah.
plus I was the photographer and planner, so I was kind of leading everything. And there have been other times that I have like joined in, or someone has hired me in as like, you'll be the photographer for this shoot.
Yeah.
And that like coming in not knowing other people
Yeah.
is always more difficult. It always like takes a minute to like, especially people's personalities, like working with models that I've never worked with before.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes they're just like playing like very like closed or something,
Yeah.
and then I say some joke and then they lighten up and I'm like, cool, okay, great, now we can, I feel comfortable around you now that you have like broken that kind of like, I don't know, just like very reserved stoic persona.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot easier whenever I'm uh, assembling the team
Yeah.
than whenever I am being assembled
Yeah.
into someone else's team.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. Um, but okay, so Kate, this has been so fun. I mean, amazing to like catch up over the years and everything, and like just like hear all these stories and like getting all this great lessons and stuff throughout all of it. I want to talk about your book
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that
Excited to talk
too.
about it.
But maybe before we do that,
Yeah.
let's talk about what we're loving this week.
Okay. Yes.
So can literally be whatever, book, TV show, movie.
Something that you need to know about me is I have the attention, or not the attention span, the short term memory of a goldfish. I literally have to look at my podcast to tell you what I've
Yeah,
been listening to and what I've been loving because
yeah.
I don't remember.
I also have to keep a note of just like all different things that I am loving, because
Oh,
I'm like, I will forget.
so okay. So obviously, and this is super basic. Bridgerton. I'm not done yet. No spoilers. Are you watching?
Same. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I
I haven't been
am
able to get my
not in
husband
season
into
3
it.
yet.
Oh, you're not in season 3 yet. Okay. I haven't
No.
been able to get my husband into it, and I'm like, you would love it. You would love it. You just need to give it a chance, you know?
See, that was us.
Yeah.
My wife had been trying to get me into it, and I heard someone describe it as like if Jane Austen did The Bachelorette.
It's exactly that. That is a great summation. That is
Yeah,
perfect. Yes.
that was not interesting to me. So I was like, I've watched The Bachelorette.
That's
It's
what
fine.
is my husband and I's. That's our connection show. That is,
Oh, nice. Okay.
I can barely watch reality TV after Project Runway.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like trauma.
You've been in the kitchen. You know what's going on behind the
But
scenes.
I
Yeah.
love Bachelor and Bachelorette. I haven't watched the last like two.
Golden Bachelor.
Okay, so we started that, but that was just so depressing. I just thought
I
it was going to be like
Yeah.
single old people, but I didn't really stop and think about why would so
Why
many
they would
old
be
people be
single?
single.
Yeah.
And from divorce to death, I was just kind of like, oh God, this is really depressing. And I had to stop. I couldn't watch it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
But
I think we got like 2 episodes in, and then we're like, yeah, this isn't really
not for us.
ours. No.
But yeah, we love regular batch. But yeah, so watching Bridgerton, love Bridgerton. On my
Yes.
like to watch list, not sure if I'm gonna love, so like my judgment is reserved, is I've been I love true crime. And okay, for everybody who's gonna be like, oh, that's also very basic. I liked true crime before it was cool. I am a true crime hipster, okay? And I can't wait to watch the new Hulu show about Sherry Papini, the like real life Gone Girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was coming
I
out.
know.
Okay.
It's out, I believe, or comes out this
Ooh.
week. So
Okay.
I need to watch that. Um, and then when I need to cleanse my palate for true crime, I love
Hmm.
listening to movie podcasts, like movie breakdowns,
Oh yeah.
you know? And my favorites are what is it called? I Saw What You Did. Um,
Yes. Where they like tie two
yes,
movies from like different genres together.
so
It's
good.
so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And like usually I like to listen to movies that I have seen and then I like to hear them break down. But with those two, I can listen to all of them. It's like, and then I actually like, oh, okay, I think I should probably watch this movie. What is the other one? Let me see. How Did This Get Made? Love How Did This Get Made? It's like movie fails, kind of like The Room, you know? Like it's so bad that it's good.
It's very like Mystery Science Theater 3000
Yes,
esque of just like how they're just like ripping apart these movies of like,
so great.
how did someone actually make this?
Totally.
Because Jason Mantzoukas is one of the hosts of that one, right?
I am obsessed with him.
Yes.
Obsessed.
One of my favorite people.
Yes.
I love him
How
in
he was
everything that he's
single
ever been in.
is beyond me. I'm just like somebody needs to lock that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Did you see Percy Jackson,
No, but I
the
need to.
miniseries?
I my husband
It's
started watching that. Is he in
yeah.
that?
He's in that. So
I
there you
watch
go.
that.
Yeah. Now that'll be a reason for you to start Percy Jackson, and
I could
then Jane
totally
Austen Bachelorette
do
will be the reason your
that.
husband starts Bridgerton.
I watched Percy Jackson for you now.
No. Yeah. Yeah. I did. So we just started maybe 2 weeks ago watching Bridgerton.
Oh yeah.
Me. My wife's already she had been counting down since like December when they announced that season 3 was coming out.
It's my favorite
Uh,
of the seasons.
Season 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like season 2 more than season 1,
Yeah.
although I liked season 1 too.
Yeah.
But yeah, season 2 is definitely I like it a lot more, which I tend to on most shows because
Yeah.
like season 1 is a lot of backstory and getting to know characters and all that, and then in season 2 you're like you already know about this person,
Exactly.
so we can just get into it.
Are you
Um,
didn't finish season 2?
Not yet. I think we're like episode 6, 5 or 6, somewhere in there.
What do you know about the Sharmas so far? I don't want to spoil it for you.
Their grandparents have shown up.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't
I
know.
thought, okay, this is not going to spoil anything. I thought
Okay.
I spent the first half of it thinking
Hmm.
for sure. I don't even remember the sister's name. I only know Kate's name. I'll just say
Edwina.
Miss Sharma. I
Yeah.
thought Miss Sharma was Kate's like unwed daughter. Like I thought that she like had
Oh.
a daughter out of wedlock very young, and that's why she was like so invested in her marrying off and insistent that she was going to be like a spinster. And I think that would be
Hmm.
so much better,
Yeah. I do like that.
right?
That would have been a very interesting
Because she
twist.
really played it that way. I feel because I'm just kind of like, okay, like I get it. You love your sister, but nobody loves their sister that much. Like you really love your sister. Like you love her
Hmm.
like a daughter. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And just like how focused she was on getting her married off
Right?
and how against everything, like, oh no, I'm not here for me. I'm
It
not
would have
gonna
made
like she
so much
was
more sense.
shooting down everything. It
Everything. It
was
would have
like,
made so much more sense if she had been like spurned by love and she had sworn it off, and this
hmm
is why she needs to invest in her daughter, and why they had moved to India in the first place, like to get away so that there was no judgment on the family, or but it would have explained so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. See, that's your
This
writer
is,
coming
yeah,
out.
exactly. I'm probably like the most annoying person to watch a show with because I'm always like rewriting the end.
hmm Do we? My wife has to do that for some some shows and some movies where she's just like, I don't like the end of that. I'm going to rewrite it.
Yeah.
Like she
Yeah.
had to rewrite the end of Sweeney Todd, where she
Oh,
was just like, I don't like the ending here. I'm going to say this happened, and like she just like created this whole other story and was like, yeah, that's a good ending. I like it.
I love Sweeney Todd, by the way. Okay, wait. I
Me
need
too.
to plug in my computer too now. Wait, I'm just levitating you for a second over to an
Cool.
outlet.
All right. No
Don't
motion
go anywhere.
sickness. I'm good.
Plugging this in. Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, I did bring the plug in. So I'll give us a fun background. So this painting I made with
Yeah.
my daughter.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
decided that we needed our own team project, and
Are those her handprints in the
those
middle
are her
there?
handprints. It's okay. So I'll zoom out. It's
That's so
clouds,
cool.
and those are her handprints. And it was honestly the most challenging team project of my life. Really hard for me to relinquish control.
Uh huh.
And it was such a good lesson, and like her and I working together and me letting her live her life and be creative and still do something and like be proud of it. Like it was a really good, highly recommend.
Yeah. I really like doing like creative projects with our kids
Yeah.
in that way of like not micromanaging it,
Yes.
where I'm just like, I'm gonna let you figure out what you want to do with this. And
Exactly.
our 6-year-old is very into painting right now.
Ooh, cool.
So we're thinking about like I've got a few empty canvases in the garage, and I was
Yeah.
like, should set one up one day and just like have at it,
Well,
paint whatever you want.
I mean I want to buy so many to let her do this because like she does like the paper painting all the time.
Yeah.
But you should have seen her face light up when she saw a blank canvas and it was giant. Like this thing is bigger than me.
Oh, oh yeah.
And she goes, Mom, is that a real painting? And I was like, not yet. I'm like, you're gonna make it a real painting. And she just like the fact that like we had invested in her to be able to make a real, what she considers a real piece of art,
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
hang on the wall and we don't touch it, like that we respected it as much as we would respect any other artwork. She was like really moved at the age of 3. So like that was really cool to see.
That is very cool. Yeah, and it looks really cool too.
I'm obsessed with it. It's like my favorite piece of
Yeah.
her house.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And it's really
Yeah. The
trivial.
mhm. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I love that. I definitely need to do that. We have a canvas like maybe half that size. I think it's like I don't know, like 6 by 3 or
Yeah.
something, which is still bigger
Big.
than
Yeah.
my child. So yeah, like we need to do something with that. It's been sitting out there for like a project
Yeah.
for years, and like we just need to do a
Just
project
go for
instead of
it.
waiting.
It was so
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, I'm gonna do that too. Um, okay, sweet. Let's see.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, so what I was gonna say that I'm loving was Bridgerton.
Yes. Okay, good. I don't
Because
feel bad about saying it.
yeah, no, because I'm really liking that, and definitely liking season 2 more. And from what I've heard of season 3 and all of the like viral audio clips and stuff,
Yes.
uh, season 3 sounds like it's going to be pretty great, which I will probably be into by next week.
Amazing.
Um, but yeah, and then let's see, I also listen to a ton of podcasts, and I should probably pull them up. Because someone asked me the other day. Okay, they didn't ask me. One of my friends posted on threads of just like, "Hey, I need some podcast recommendations," and then I just like listed a ton. Um, but yeah, some of my favorites right now. I love. Oh, I love Lore. Have you ever heard of
Love
Lore?
Lore. Yes.
Okay.
Every October we listen to Lore like as a family.
Yes. Yes, that's great. Yeah, they're that one's really great. I like the lore legends that he's been doing
Okay, I
recently that are
haven't like
not.
explored Lore Legends because it's
Hmm.
for me it is a seasonal podcast.
Hmm.
So I'll save it. I'll explore Lore Legends in October-ish.
Yeah. Yeah. They're less of the like, this is what actually happened, and more of the like, more of a tall tale
Ooh, okay.
type stuff,
I do like
is fun. Yeah. Um, but yeah. Oh man, so many. Um,
on the spooky side.
uh huh.
I just finished watching Jinx second season. That's the one about Robert Durst
Yeah.
and his like missing wife and the fact that he probably like murdered his best friend and all that stuff. And it covers his trial and like
Hmm.
subsequent death. Sorry, like spoiler alert, but it was in the news, so I don't feel like it's a spoiler.
Yeah.
And it was surprisingly, I'm like, where how are you gonna get better than him like confessing on camera like in season one? And it didn't get better than that, but it had its own like ups and downs and like really bizarre like
Mm-hmm.
spins. Yeah, recommend. I
Hmm.
think it's
Okay.
3 episodes, but it was good.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that season two was out.
Yeah,
I feel like I've been like not up to date with a lot of things now that summer has started,
yeah, it's,
and I don't, because I will normally just like watch a show or something while I'm washing dishes
yeah.
or like picking up around the house, and having all three kids at home all the time, I'm just
That's the
like,
thing. It's like I can't, nothing that I want to
yeah,
intake is appropriate. Absolutely nothing.
right, yeah, yeah. And my earbuds, I have lost them,
Yeah,
and it has been like 2 or 3 weeks now that I haven't had them. And I'm like, I can't listen to a lot of the podcasts that I like. I can't like watch a lot of the shows because it is not appropriate for 3-year-old ears. And yeah, so I just as soon as I buy some new ones, I will find them.
yeah,
But then I'll have two pairs and that'll be
exactly.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have never got earbuds because I can't be trusted. I know it will
Mm,
instantly be gone.
yeah. Yeah. We've gone through so many
Yeah.
in this house. But okay, those I love those things that we're loving. I want to talk about your book, uh, and just like how did that happen? How did you get the idea for the book and all that?
So it has been my life's work. So that is not like an overstatement. That is like a genuinely true statement because I have been in love with the story of Beauty and the Beast my entire life. Like before cosplaying was a thing, I was staying up all night making myself bell gowns, hoop skirt included, and like smuggling myself in with my parents' help to Disney. So that I've always loved that story. I watch it. I mean, I've seen it so many times, but it's a tradition that once a year I have to watch it. If it's available on Broadway, off Broadway near me, I go
Mm-hmm.
and instantly, like whenever the I hear like the orchestra from the Beauty and the Beast version, I start sobbing, instantly
Yeah.
sobbing. And I just and I learn something new about myself every time I experience that story. So like my husband always gets offended because he thinks like, okay, if you like Beauty and the Beast, like does that make me the beast?
Right.
And I'm constantly explaining to him and to other people, I am Belle and I am Beast in my head. Like for me, it's a
Mm,
story about internal struggle, like struggling with yourself, like trying to be Belle, which would be like the best of humanity, and being also a beast and like
yeah.
having anger management problems, which I definitely have. Probably why they thought I was going to be the villain.
Right.
But and I don't know if everybody's like that, but I'm a Gemini and I definitely have two different personalities. And so for me, that's what Beauty and the Beast is. Belle and the Beast are my two different personalities.
Yeah.
But my mind was absolutely blown because my entire life it's been this metaphorical fairy tale.
Yeah.
And in 2016, I remember exactly where I was. I was in my apartment in Chicago, and I was scrolling through Hulu, and a Smithsonian documentary popped up, and it said the real story of Beauty and the Beast. And I'm just like, excuse me.
What do you mean real
No,
story?
what in the Bridgerton is this? Where it's like
Yeah.
a bestiality? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, Beauty and the Beast is not real, right? And I'm like, but it's Smithsonian. So I click it, and it is real in the sense that, okay, there was a girl in the French court who was forced to marry a man whose name was Petros Gonzalez. He was purchased from like a traveling group of entertainers from Spain as like a circus oddity.
Mm.
And he had hypertrichosis. So he was like owned by the court of France. She was forced to marry him, and because they wanted to like experiment and see like what would their kids look like. And they genuinely believed at that time, this is in the, I think this, the real story happened in the 1500s. I fast forwarded it to make it really fun and interesting, and I put it in late 1700s Versailles because that's just fun.
Yeah.
Um, but it happened like similar players, same court, and just crazy. And they ended up, despite the challenges, so they were forced to marry each other. They were like isolated, forced to have kids. Their kids were taken from them, like sold to other courts, and just have like a really, really tragic, awful story.
Yeah.
And despite all of that, they ended up genuinely like falling in love and having a love that has literally like withstood the test of time. And I was like, what the heck? Mind blown. So I just had to go deep diving. And my story, like I said, so I fast forwarded it. I put it in my favorite time in French history. And in my opinion, like the most glamorous time. So I really
Yeah.
had fun with that. And but every character in the story is a real person that existed. And usually, so one of the characters is Belle's father, who in Beauty and the Beast, like the old story is Maurice, and he is a merchant. And
Mm.
then in Disney, he's an inventor. In my story, he is an inventor. And so I like take that, but he like went to school, and he's like a physician too. Like back in the day, they were very, you know, how like the barbers did surgery, things like that. Like
Yeah.
education
Oh
was
yeah.
very fluid back in the day.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
so her dad's name was Antoine, and he did work for the king. And uh, then there's the one love interest is Joseph Guillotine, who was a real person. Then we've got Catherine, who is Belle. And my name is not Catherine, but a lot of people think it is because I go by Kate.
Right.
And just so everybody is aware, I did not name her Catherine because I wanted to be her. Uh, but I was very excited when I found out she probably went by Kate. And she
Yeah.
had long curly red hair, which, sorry everybody, my hair is not naturally red. I definitely dyed it on Project Runway, and I've always wanted to be a redhead. So I was just like, oh my gosh, has my whole life been leading up to this? Like, I needed to discover her. It was very like Vertigo. Like, I've been obsessed with this girl my whole life, and I didn't know who she was. And then I finally like found her. I'm like,
Right.
but sorry, I don't know if I'm really selling it, but it's a really good story.
It sounds very interesting, and like that's one of the stories, one of the like Disney stories that I remember from childhood. We weren't a Disney child or household
Yeah.
when I was a kid, and like I remember Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, That's about
Yeah.
it. That we really watched, and that's one of our kids' favorites too. And whenever I saw that you had written this book, I was like, wait, there's the real, like the epiphany that you had
Right?
in 2016. I was just like, wait, this is a real story,
You-
and I am so excited to read like your rendition
Yeah.
and take
I
on
can't wait to
this
hear what
whole
you
thing.
think about it. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, read the book and then go on all the deep dives because so one of my favorite authors, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I love Dan Brown. I love a Dan Brown book,
yeah,
and he's such a page turner. And my favorite part about reading Dan Brown books is that you can like all of the art that he mentions, all the buildings that he mentions, you can Google it and you can see it and you can experience it. And then whenever you can go visit these places. And so I wanted to take that aspect of Dan Brown's books and incorporate it into mine. So like all of the buildings in my book are real. All the people are real. You can look up their portraits. You can read all about them. And that was that was part of what I wanted to do with my book. But another thing that that really made me happy was I I'm definitely a dreamer, but I'm also very much a realist, and those two sides fight a lot. And
mm-hmm.
sometimes it's heartbreaking to realize that like some of the more beautiful things aren't real, you know?
Yeah.
And
I
when I found out that my favorite fantasy isn't a fantasy, when my favorite fake thing is actually real, I was like, "Oh my god." And I'm like, if I can show somebody that, like maybe they'll find out that their favorite fantasy is not a fantasy and it's real and it makes the real world a little bit prettier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because like I when you said like finding out that your like a real story is actually a fantasy,
Yeah.
it reminded me of the show Fargo
Yeah.
and how like even on the like the series it said, you know, the this is a true story,
Yeah.
but
No.
it wasn't a true story, and they had written all that, and I whenever I found out that Ryan Murphy had done that, I was just like, I believed these were true
True
stories, and I was
stories. I
like, this
love
is
Fargo.
so crazy. It's so good.
Oh,
All the
so
seasons
good.
are just so great,
So
especially this fifth one.
yeah, I like the second
But
season the best. Oh, obsessed with the second season. But yeah, that was
yes,
me,
is that the one with
Kristen Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst?
Yes,
Okay,
and
yeah,
her now husband. So good.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Fifth
that one was great.
Kind or Fourth Kind. You know what I'm talking about. There's a sci-fi
Yes,
movie. It was like
uh-huh.
I. This is why I cannot go online. Fake news was designed for me. Okay, the Fourth Kind movie convinced me that aliens and angels were the same
Mhm.
thing. I was
Yeah,
like watching it and I'm just like, oh my God, it all makes sense. Like
yeah, of
aliens are
course,
angels,
yes.
vice versa. Wow, mind blown. And I like had this conversation with my husband, my very serious, very intellectual husband. I was just like, okay, I get it now. Aliens are
Yeah,
angels, you know? And he was like, you know, that's not real. I'm like, did you not see the captions at the beginning? It says, this is based on a true story. And he's like, they can just say that. No, they can't. He's
yeah,
they absolutely can. And it wasn't real. And it wasn't real
yeah.
footage. And
No,
I was like, what?
yeah. I was like, how can you say that though?
But
Like,
so mine
yeah,
really is based on a true story.
yours is the opposite
Yeah.
of that. Yeah,
And I do take
that
creative
feeling,
liberty.
it's going to be the opposite.
I do take creative liberty. Mine, uh, I want to say it's not like it's not depressing, but it's less depressing than the real story,
Hmm.
or at least stops before it stops at a happier ending than the real story
Than the
did.
real one. Yeah,
So, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it.
yeah,
it's a fun beach read. Like I'm not trying to write the next great American novel, but but because my memory is really bad, as a reader of it, I read it multiple times and I forget it every time, and I enjoy it every time.
That is the best. Some people will ask me like I read like Dark Matter years
Yeah,
ago with Blake Crouch, and it was great. And now I'm watching the
yeah.
miniseries, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like this is all new. Like, I'm remembering certain aspects of it, but I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. I'm really enjoying this. Like that sort of like memory loss really allows you to enjoy life a little bit more.
It does. It's like you just couldn't remember you liked a thing, but you don't remember the ins and outs of it. It's a
Hmm.
beautiful thing. I am
Yeah,
happy right now with it. It's probably not going to get better with age, but for right now, it's
yeah.
working for me.
Yeah, maybe not great whenever I'm
Yeah,
70, but
exactly.
right now I'm good. Awesome. Well, Kate, this has been so great. I am very excited to read your book. I have pre-ordered it and
Oh,
everything,
thank
and
you.
I'm very
Yeah, you
excited. I will
definitely.
definitely
We
let you
should do
know.
this again on or off camera, but I really want to know what you think. I can't wait to talk to people about it.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. I will let you know. But yeah, like where can people find you online and follow along, and how can they let you know what they
Yeah.
think about the book?
So, okay, I'm on Instagram at Kate Pankoke, and that's my personal one. I have Elaya Vaughn, which is my business Instagram, but I'm really going to try to limit my like book stuff to my personal one. I did
Hmm.
start a special page devoted to that because I don't want people to be like, oh my God, now all she's talking about is this book. So let me see what I even called that. I, I haven't posted.
Wasn't it like Kate Pankoke
I
writes or
think.
something
Oh
like that?
yeah. Wait, did I send it to you or did it suggest it for you? I think it is.
No, it
Great.
yeah, I think it just came up.
Okay, wait. Let me.
Maybe it was suggested.
Yeah, it's probably Kate Pankoke Greats. That sounds like me. This is. Do you see why I'm a designer and not a sales rep? How do I even?
Oh, Kate Pankoke writing.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's it. And I'm gonna post. So I'm gonna try to like really interact with readers on that and post portraits of the real people and do like fact and fiction. Like, okay, so like maybe she didn't say that, but this is exactly what she said. And
yeah.
do all the fun things. Like, I don't know if you ever did that for Hamilton. I went like on so many deep dives about Hamilton. Like, oh, what really happened?
Yes.
So I'll
Right.
put all that on the Kate. What is it? Kate Pankoke Writes.
Kate Kate Pankoke writing.
Kate Pankoke Writing.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, though that kind of stuff is just like it draws you like in deeper. Whenever I see stuff like that, I'm just like, "Oh, that's cool." Like now I have like I imagined a face while I was reading it,
Yeah,
and then now I have the actual face, and
totally. I
just kind of
started working
changes the
on
story a little bit.
I started working on the portraits, and what I'm doing is I'm gonna let people opt in because of that. Like I do like
Hmm.
to picture my own like idea of like
Right.
what did this building look like? What did these people look like? So what I'm doing is I'm posting a blurred picture and be like the real Belle, and then you can swipe if you really want to see. But if you don't, it's just like ambiguous. Obviously, she has red hair. You're gonna know that, but you don't have
Yeah.
to like look her in the eyes if you're not ready. You know, like
Yeah.
read it with your vision of who they are, and then swipe it later.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know some people are very much like, no, I have this vision, and if I see the real person, it's gonna like destroy it. Or like I know a lot of people were just like with Hermione from
Oh
uh,
yes,
Harry Potter, they were like, nope, she looked very different in my
yeah.
mind than in person. With
Which funny thing that Hermione played
yeah,
Belle in the live.
I know.
Like,
Yeah,
don't even get me started.
yeah, yeah. Tying it all together. Well, awesome. Well, Kate, this has been so
Yeah,
great.
so much.
I really enjoyed getting to catch up
Me too.
and to talk and just like I feel like I've learned a lot more about you just like through this conversation.
Yeah,
So thanks for being on the show.
no, thank you so much for having me. This was really fun. It was so good to catch up.
Yes. Well, awesome. Yeah, and I will have links for all the socials and
Thank
a
you.
link to order your book and all that. Because when does your
It comes
because it comes
out,
out in like
yeah.
yeah
So I'm just
okay
like
yeah
so soon. But I feel like this month has been
yes
going so slow because I'm so excited to geek out about this with everybody.
yeah yeah. So June 28th,
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, and I'll have that. I know this everyone listen on like Spotify and Apple and everything. This is past June 28th, so go ahead and order it now.
Awesome.
But yeah, I will also post in like the Facebook group and on social
Thank you
media
so
and all that
much.
on the 28th.
Awesome. Thank
But
you.
yeah, absolutely. And anyone watching us live, thanks for tuning in. I don't know if we went back live after mine cut out, but who knows? We're all good. But yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get